Welcome to the Oracle decks I like to use the most, part 3. I'm going to continue to show you the Oracle decks, and I'm going to move down my camera, that I really enjoy using in my readings, and you would have seen that in my 2026 forecast readings. I use them, and some of them are brand new, some of them I'm just trying to figure out how they work. So sometimes I just love Oracle decks, and I just love looking at different ways that source spirit can connect with me, and also they could connect with other people. So then it would be looking at choices of decks. So this one is the Wild Unknown Pocket Archetype. So I chose a pocket so that I could go, so it could go with me when I travel. And so it can be quite big. This one is small, and it's meant to be an archetype. So you read about the archetype, and the cards themselves actually don't have as much meaning for me. So I can't get as much just from the cards. This, I find, is very helpful when you go to the book. So this is a little teeny tiny book. I can tell you, if I were to do this again, I might get a bigger book, because I may get the bigger size, because the size of the printing is a challenge for me at times. But it has a lot of information about what this deck is about, how you can use it, and different ways that you can use it. And then each card has the card, it has information about it over here, it has keywords, and then the explanation about the archetype itself. And if you get the bigger guidebook, it's just bigger. So you don't lose anything. I did check into that due to the size, but just, for old eyes, it can be a little bit challenging. I have actually found this very insightful, this deck. I really enjoy the energy of it. I enjoy the energy of the archetype. So when I'm doing a reading and really looking at that bigger message that's coming in, that bigger energy that is moving forward that you're going to be leaning into, I find it very, very powerful. The next one, the spiritual meaning of birds. I just got this as well. I love this because I go on walks and I love birds. So, and it is a Canadian artist, so that was intriguing for me. And she's the author of the Green Witch Oracle deck. And I didn't have that, but I do have the Green Witch book. So, I was just interested, and just beautiful artwork, beautiful depictions of the birds. And I like this because a lot of these are birds in North America. So that's who I'm getting the messages from. I see lots and lots of hawks. So it's about wildness, perception, observation. And I think that's where I wanted to either use it. So I'm still figuring out how to use it. So this, once again, is when you bring a new deck in, what does it look like? So sometimes I will use it like a clarifier. So I will add to it as a clarifier. And if it makes complete sense, I might add another one if it doesn't make sense. And I do go through the book, because what did the artist intend from the meaning of that bird? Because I don't know the birds in this area. That's the other reason I wanted to use this, because I see magpies. It's about hoarding, distraction, and balance. And it's interesting because around the world and with Indigenous, magpie can have a different meaning. And so what does it mean for here? And it talks about where you find them, the card meanings, and it just talks about the bird themselves. So it's helping me learn a little bit about the birds in my area, especially when we're at the lake in Saskatchewan. We have lots of birds and that come in, and I just see so many animals and so many birds. So that's why I have this deck that you're going to see me bring in different ways, and as I explore it. I've had this deck called the Soul Cards for many years, and It is a very simple deck. So it just comes like this in this cardboard box. And the artist created this and says, this is how you could use them. You could have personal relationships. Um, you could do different reflections, meditations with the card. So they do not tell you the meaning of the card, but they tell you how you could contemplate the meanings of the card. And when I do them, they're different drawings. So what I do is I look at the colors, I look at the images, and intuitively read them. So this deck is completely intuition and really what is the story that's coming to you? What is your connection, your soul connection? Because it's connecting directly with your soul. And I love having these as part of a reading. In the beginning, when I first started reading for other people, it actually terrified me because I was worried that I wasn't getting it right. I was worried about tapping into my intuition. And now I don't worry about it at all. It makes sense and flows completely with the reading. And so I love this just intuitive hit. And you can see there's many different, there's a whole bunch of different types of drawings and colors and just, it just has different feels and different ways. So it's a very beautiful, contemplative, intuitive deck. And there is soul cards too. I wasn't as drawn to soul cards too, so I didn't like the images in soul cards too, so I never did get it. But some people might like that, might be something to explore. I had a friend and she had gotten Old Ways Magical Oracle by Naomi Cornock. And this is the artist. An artist made this one, so you buy it directly from her website. And I love this deck. Now, it's new to me. So I got it in the beginning of November. So I will still just look at, I will keep the guidebook. I keep the guidebook out and I can use it intuitively, but then I will also, the guidebook is not that thick. It just gives you, because this is all the Celtic god and goddesses and all of the stories, and I'm not Celtic, so I don't necessarily know how, by looking at it, what is going on. So I use the guidebook just to help me understand the story, but I will use it intuitively just to look at the images. But I love all the depth of these images. This artist has put so much into it. So the wild mage, and you could even go further and you could do a deep study with each one of the card. Like, who is the wild mage? She tells you a little bit of the wild mage in her booklet, but you could do a deep study on how it's coming up for you. This could be an animal study of the badger, strength with the wild boar, rebirth. There's just so many things happening. And this would be, there's going to be goddesses in here. So then I would just go look, because which is the goddess? I'm just learning the deck, so I'm not sure. But you might have said, which goddess am I going to work with? And you can, once again, just take this card out and you can look through the card and say, okay, this is the card that I'm going to work with. It's calling to me. See, these are all different goddesses. And you could work with them and the power that they have in your life and bringing them alive in your work. So that's another way you can use oracle cards. This stock is very slippery. I have found these cards to be very powerful, very accurate. And I like using them as a clarifier. I also like using them in the overall. They're powerful in either way to help clarify or give the energy for that very specific line or section that I'm pulling. The next is Judith Orloff card, The Power of Surrender. And you can see just a really teeny tiny booklet. So it's just talking a little bit about how you could use the messages, but for the most part, it's the cards themselves. And this is, I would say, a must-have for any person, any woman doing self-help work. because it's all surrender, surrender to fear. And they write on the bottom, surrender to setting limits. It's just all these cards of surrendering. Just surrender, surrender to your belief in scarcity, surrender to trust. And I find these powerful when I'm doing my own reading and when I'm reading for other people, because it is really that question of what are we surrendering into? What are we allowing ourselves to move into and through surrender, trust, and a continued expansion and evolving. And they're simple to understand. The drawings, the artwork is beautiful. It's enticing, and it is just really, really a really powerful deck. Another way is that you could also look and consciously choose a card here. So maybe you're finding that you're getting stuck with always needing to be right. Maybe that's what's happening in your relationships right now. And so you want to know more information. So you can pull out this card. You can look at all the ways you need to surrender and reflect, and you can say, this is actually what I need to do. And so what I would do is then I would pull this card out, and then I would use some of my tarot, and I would use some of my other oracle, and I would tell a deeper story. If I need to surrender, how am I going to do that? What is the way in which this happens for me? And so I just pull more cards to help me with that. So these are the part 3 of cards that I use the most and stay right on my desk always for readings, and I lean into these. Keep leading with your soul. And until next time, sending you lots of love. Gonna meet you in part 4.